20 to 50,000 children starve to death every day. Over 60 million people have starved to death in the last 3 years from the lockdowns. 640 million people don't have enough food to eat every day, according to the World Food Program Hunger Map. Before we get into today's news, let me quickly show you these 3 easy steps teaching you how you can have food sent to an orphanage in a poor part of the world. Let's find an orphanage in a poor part of the world. For this example, let's type into Google Manila, Philippines orphanage. Then click More Places. Now we can see a list of all the orphanages. Let's try this one. And here's the address for the orphanage right here. Then let's find a grocery store near the orphanage. So let's just type in Manila, Philippines grocery store. Now we can see all the grocery stores and see where they are on the map. Let's try this one, SM Supermarket Manila. Here's a link to their website. For this example, let's just buy a bunch of rice for the orphanage. Just add to cart and check out. For the delivery address or shipping address, we just put the address of the orphanage. And that's it, we're done. We just sent 500 pounds of rice to poor orphans in less than 5 minutes. Anyone can do this right from their phone. Use these 3 easy steps and send food to starving children today. Let's zoom in on Afghanistan on the World Food Program Hunger Map. Population 40.4 million, 34.9 million with insufficient food consumption. That's almost 90% of the population doesn't have enough food to eat every day. 38.2% of children under the age of 5 have chronic malnutrition. You can see from the map that the entire country is red, so basically the whole country is starving to death. Why the hell don't I see this on the news every day? Here's a clip of Martin Griffiths from the United Nations saying 1 million children in Afghanistan have acute malnutrition. That's 1 million children that are on the absolute brink of starving to death.
1 million children potentially suffering severe acute malnutrition. 1 million children. The figures are so hard to grasp when they're this kind of size, but 1 million children in Afghanistan at risk of that kind of malnutrition, if these things don't happen, is a shocking one.
What could be more important in life than we as humanity saving 1 million children who are starving to death? Do you really think it's some coincidence that America went to war over there for 20 years and blew everything up, and now the whole population is starving to death? These wars happen without the consent of the American people. Wars kill millions of innocent people, and they are a crime against humanity. Let's check out our second country on the list, Sierra Leone. Population 8.2 million, 4.7 million without enough food to eat every day. 29.5% of children under the age of 5 have chronic malnutrition. Haiti, population 10.9 million, 6.7 million with insufficient food consumption. 22.7% of the children under the age of 5 have chronic malnutrition. In Haiti, it's common for children to eat dirt mud cookies just to survive. They take a special dirt they believe has nutrients and add water and lay it out in the sun to dry. Look at these clips right here of children eating mud cookies, and then ask yourself, what is important in life? If you think this is bad, imagine a child down in Haiti who has autism or Down syndrome and is born into a poor family, if they have a family at all. You know what's more important than your new $100,000 sports car? Helping poor starving children with disabilities that have had the bad luck of being born in a poor country. Next country that doesn't have enough food, Yemen. Population 30 million, 14.5 million with insufficient food consumption. 47.5% of children under the age of 5 with chronic malnutrition. That statistic is absolutely insane. So basically 50% of the entire population of Yemen is starving to death. Why don't I hear about this famine-ridden country on the news here in America? The news here will highlight one person who died while completely ignoring famines around the world where millions and millions of people are starving to death. It's disgusting. Our last country on this episode will be Uganda. Population 42.7 million. 15.5 million without enough food to eat every day. 28.9% of children under the age of 5 have chronic malnutrition. What would you do if you and your family were born in northern Africa, where there is almost no rain, no crops, and no livestock? Look at this picture. What is success to you? Is it $1 million mansion and a $200,000 sports car? Or is it saving children from starving to death in a poor part of the world? Many Americans' minds have been sold into the idea of materialism and greed. Here's a clip of a woman demanding a $200,000 engagement ring while tens of millions of children are starving to death across the world right now.
Let's say he just started his own business, but he makes $45,000 a year. Would you date him?
You wouldn't be able to afford my engagement ring. I'm getting an 8-carat cushion cut vintage engagement ring. If you make $45,000 a year, it would take you 4 years? No, 8 years to afford.
Wait, how much? I don't know anything about rings. How much is that?
About $200,000.
Girl, you want a $200,000? Are you insane?
My ring has to sparkle from across the street. Like, you have to see that shit. It's gonna blind people.
Materialism and greed is the infectious disease that is destroying the minds of our youth. I'm not saying you should give all your money away and live in a cardboard box behind a dumpster in an alley. But if you got some extra money laying around, or you're rich, and you want to do something good in the world, then what could be a better life's purpose than feeding kids that are starving to death? Or how about paying for a surgery for a child who was born with a life-threatening disability? Or just have 10 pizzas delivered to an orphanage? Then it's like you threw a pizza party for some poor orphans. I just typed into Google, Manila, Philippines pizza, and they have a Pizza Hut. And 10 large meat lovers pizzas would cost around $110 US. I came up with that orphan pizza party idea in 1 minute and did 3 minutes of research to make the whole thing happen from my phone. Or contact an orphanage and find out what type of food that they need. I don't trust anyone with my money. I'd rather send food and medical supplies and things like that to an orphanage. I don't trust my money with charities either. That's why feedstarvingchildren.org does not accept any donation of any shape or form. In the next episode of In World Hunger News, I'm going to basically put together the best list I can for food for an orphanage, and I'm going to see how long I can feed 20 orphans for $1,000. We can't take any money or material possessions with us when we die. So what's the point of dying with $1 million in your bank account? I don't want your stupid money. I just want to encourage people to use the 3-step system and have food sent to an orphanage in a poor part of the world, or for humanity to do something serious about ending world hunger. No child should ever starve to death. Please comment what you think success is below in the comments section. I do read every comment. Ending world hunger is a giant task, but it can be achieved. Thank you for watching. And if you're an American or someone in a developed nation, never forget how good we have it and how lucky we are to have been born in a place with an abundance of food. Most people in the world live paycheck to paycheck, but if you can help by having food sent, please do so. A small amount of food can make an immense difference in a malnourished child's life. I'd like to leave you with a 30-second clip of United States Secretary of State Madeleine Albright saying 500,000 children starving to death was, quote, worth it.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And you know, is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
To punish Saddam Hussein for invading Kuwait and to make sure he doesn't do anything like that again or worse, The UN imposed sanctions on Iraq, the harshest, most comprehensive sanctions in modern times. Very little goes into the country. Meanwhile, it's no secret that the sanctions are causing hardships. It's not the leaders who are suffering, it's the people, and especially the children. This is a ward in a pediatric hospital in Baghdad for severely malnourished children. And everywhere we went, we saw children like these, malnourished, some close to starvation. We saw children who needed medicine they couldn't get. And this little boy died of pneumonia an hour after we took these pictures because there were no antibiotics. Jane Pierce works for the United Nations World Food Program.
Most people don't realize what's going on. They don't see pictures of babies like we've just seen here. You know, babies that are a third of their recommended weight.
Before 1990, before the war and before these sanctions, was this all unheard of in this country?
Yeah, yes.
Did not exist at all.
Didn't exist.
Now that you have watched that clip, ask yourself, how many people have starved to death because of the decisions made by a bunch of sick, psychotic, twisted freaks?